I'm AdamHarry from BoLS, and today we're taking a look at the brand new Warhammer Doomseeker, a game from Games Workshop and Ninja Division. In this game, 2 to 4 players take the role of a slayer on a quest for death. Let's dive in. Alright, we just got the plastic wrap off. Here's the back of the box, as you can see here. And again, real fast, it's a card game based. It's pretty interesting. You're trying to get the most renowned basically before the game ends. You can actually die and still get. You know what? Let's just open it up here before I get too carried away. All right. Okay, let's see what we got here. We've got the rule book, which we'll flip through here shortly. It's pretty thin. We've got a ton of tokens. We've got some decks, which we'll take these out real fast. We'll go through these a little bit. We've got the plastic. Oh, okay, this pops off. Cool. Oh, even more stuff. So we've got tokens. Oh, ominous black boards. What are these for? Let's see if we can get them unfolded. Here we go. This is the game board. Dun-da-da. Okay. Very interesting. Got some different. These are obviously for different card slots and decks and stuff. We'll find out more here in a minute. Again, there's the other punch outs. Let's see. Dice. We like dice. And we've got some character cards here as well, which we'll go through. That is everything. We always check the bottom because sometimes stuff's hidden in the bottom. And I do want to show this off real fast. We have these cards, and we got a special promo couple of cards too. So we'll open up these at the same time. The first thing we're going to take a look at are the 8 different Slayer options you get in the box. Now, as I mentioned, we did get that promo pack, and we have 3 additional Slayers. They're actually the same Slayer 3 times. So that's the promo one here. But we're going to focus on the ones that are actually come in the box. So as you're looking at the card, first off, you'll notice you have the Slayer's name at the top, in the top text bar up there. Then you're going to have your strength. Your strength is going to be what you add to the die roll to see if you do damage to the things you're fighting. The little gem there is your health. Whenever you lose your last wound, you're dead. And again, you don't get knocked out of the game just because you're dead. We'll more on that later. And then each Slayer also has this text box here, the big text box. That's going to be their special ability. Now, I'm not going to go through all the special abilities, but do know that they all impact how you play with that particular Slayer and can change things up quite a bit. Let's assume that you have your Slayer picked out already and you're setting up the board for the first time. This is not how the board's going to look like initially. We're going to talk about that because it also depends on the number of players that are actually participating in the game. You can play with up to 4 players, and that's going to change the way the decks work. But I want to talk about the board itself and some of the decks that you can see on the table. Now, obviously, as you're fighting and playing, you're going to accumulate gold and you're going to accumulate renown. The point of the game is to end the game with the most renown. You can be dead or alive, preferably alive, but you can actually get a bunch of bonus points for dying. That's part of the game and part of the strategy of being a Doomseeker. That said, let's talk about these decks real fast before we get too far. First off, we're going to have the shop deck. Now, as you're playing, you're going to accumulate gold. You're a dwarf, after all. And you can go to the shop and you can buy these cards. These cards are going to provide you with benefits depending on what they are. The Sturdy Pack, for example, allows you to discard this card to reduce the cost of the treasure by the number of rune tokens on you. That's one thing here. There's weapons you can buy to increase your strength value. There's potions you can buy to heal you. Stuff like that. Those are all in the item shop deck. Next up, we're going to talk about the Fate deck. Now, this game is kind of similar to another game called Munchkin. If you're familiar with that one, it's kind of a cooperate until you don't kind of game. This is the same kind of idea here. The Slayers can each play a Fate card to influence a battle, which we'll get to in a moment. The influence Fate step is kind of one of those, make a deal moments in the game. It's where a lot of the gameplay comes from, actually. It's pretty fun and entertaining to kind of see if you can be the seeker of your own doom, or if you've got to work with a buddy, or if you want to doom somebody else to their own death. So that's how that works. There's the threat deck, or the doom deck, if you will. This deck is comprised of level 1 threats, which are the green, level 2 threats, which are blue, and level 3 threats, which are the kind of reddish pink. So if you are playing 2 players, you only have, depending on how many players you have, it's going to determine how many number of cards from each deck you're going to have. But essentially, you're going to build your deck. I'm just going to use these as an example. You're going to take the appropriate number of cards, stack them up here, And then on your turn, you set up the cards along the battlefield, which are these cards up here. For each player on their turn, they can choose a particular agent of chaos or undeath or whatever to fight. I think these are all, I didn't shuffle these, so. But you get the idea. You're going to put out the things on the battlefield up here to fight. If you kill them by rolling your dice, adding your strength value, and beating their threat value or their health value, you get the renown or gold or whatever. And they also have different effects that they can trigger as well. You're going to go through the deck on your turns, again, gaining gold, gaining renown, taking damage, getting points, essentially. You're going to do that until the deck is gone. Once the deck is gone, the game is over. On top of that, that's the battlefield and the Doom deck. Then there's also these cards. These particular cards are your grudges. So these cards are going to give you bonus points. So, for example, earn redemption. If there are more than 3 dooms in your score pile, score 1 additional renown for each doom in your scored pile over 3. So these are special kind of secret missions that you get dealt at the start of the game to determine what you're going for. And these can also change the way you play your game. Some of them, Gold Lust, you get more points for gold. Soul Survivor, score 2 additional renown for each epic doom in your scored pile. Things like that. And there are tougher baddies along the way. Those are dealt secretly to the players. Then there's this card. This is the Saga Card. You can tell it from the different back. This basically determines who's going to be the first player for the round and gives them some special benefits. And then finally, there's these cards. These are actually just reference cards. I just thought the backs look cool. But that's essentially how the setup goes. And then a real quick, example of play. On your turn, you draw 1 card. You choose a doom on the battlefield to fight. Each player now has a chance to play 1 fate card to mess with you or help you in the fight. And then you fight the doom. When the Slayer fights a doom, you just roll a d6, add the result of the roll to the Slayer's strength total, and then any modifiers from the fate deck cards. And these can be things like critical miss or critical hit, things like that. Treasure cards or any other abilities. And as long as the total is equal or higher to the strength of the doom, again, that's the red number, then you kill it. And then that goes into your pile, and you get that much gold back. Then you spend gold at the shop, buy any number of cards from the shop, and then, of course, you refill it. If the active player has more than 5 fate cards in his hand, you have to discard back down to 5. And then the player's turn is over, and it goes to the next player. That's really it. Again, the end of the game is whoever ends up with the most renown wins. And again, you can die. So if you are a dead Slayer, you're not out of the game. Your cards are face down, but you can still play fate cards and mess with people. So you can end the game. You can actually win the game and still be dead. So keep that in mind. So that's pretty much it for Doomseeker. It is a pretty light-hearted take on death. If you're familiar with the Slayers at all, it's very, very thematic and very fitting. It's a pretty fast playing game for ages 14 and up. It takes about 30 minutes to 60 minutes. I think it'll actually go faster once you get the hang of the rules and the hang of the fate deck and everything like that. And yeah, it seems like a lot of fun, and it's a great game to just kind of throw down with some buddies on. Anyway, I'm AdamHarry from BoLS. Thanks for watching. Click to subscribe. Check out more videos. And thanks for watching.